Turning to another important story tonight, there are new calls for Attorney General Barr to face his own impeachment. That is a move that's obviously far more serious than the calls that he recuse or be held in contempt. A top congressman saying Barr is a liar who now delivered one of the most vicious partisan screeds ever uttered and should face impeachment and lose his law license. It's all about a speech he gave to a conservative legal group where he departed from the usual discussion of law or precedent to make a nakedly ideological attack on people who he may disagree with. Now, this is highly unusual for an attorney general.
Immediately after President Trump won election, opponents inaugurated what they called the resistance. The fact of the matter is that in waging a scorched earth, no-holds-barred war of resistance against this administration, it is the left that is engaged in the systematic shredding of norms and undermining the rule of law.
Barr asserting without much specific evidence that people who happen to be liberal are against the rule of law. Now, again, people can say that wherever politically, but the Attorney General is supposed to be nonpartisan and non-ideological in his public work. He also impugned the motives of Congress conducting its lawful investigative role.
The sheer volume of what we see today, the pursuit of scores of parallel investigations through an avalanche of subpoenas, is plainly designed to incapacitate the executive branch and indeed is touted as such.
Barr didn't need to make this address so combative or newsworthy. These kind of legal addresses aren't usually in the news at all. And critics are pointing to the timing amidst reports that impeachment has strained his relationship with Trump, that Barr reportedly declined to give a press conference clearing Trump of any Ukraine wrongdoing, and after cameras caught Barr having what looked like at least an animated discussion through the windows of the White House. You see it right there. I am joined by Danya Perry, who is a former assistant U.S. attorney in the famed Southern District of New York. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ari. Happy to be here.
Have you ever seen an attorney general do anything like that?
I have not. This was, as you say, a highly unusual and very partisan speech. He did not need to be, to deliver that kind of screed, as you say. Not just the shredding of norms and not just sort of a new gloss on, executive power and on the erosion of that power, but really sticking it to the Democrats and, as you say, the people who have shredded those norms and have violated the rule of law. It was highly unusual.
When you hear the phrase "by any means necessary," what does that evoke, roughly?
I mean, that's authoritarian. That's a strong man kind of a statement.
I mean, it generally refers to something beyond what is lawful. And so to have the person who enforces the laws, who everyone I think knows, who follows the news, who's also embroiled in some very suspicious use of domestic police powers, including being criticized by a judge for going after the guy who replaced James Comey, for reviewing the Russia probe in a way that many people think is suspicious, for doing his foreign diplomacy, for him to then say, oh, it's the critics doing it. This is a classic, projection technique, classic thing of accuse the others of what you're doing. And yet I want to play something else that hasn't yet gotten as much attention from the very same speech about his view that anyone who happens to be liberal, which is a lot of the country, more people voted for Clinton, for example, than Trump, that they are politically religious zealots seeking to make change by any means necessary. Take a look.
So-called progressives treat politics as a religion. Their holy mission is to use the coercive power of the state to remake man and society in their own image. They are willing to use any means necessary to gain momentary advantage in achieving their end, regardless of the collateral consequences and the systemic implications.
Your view.
Look, he gave a speech not too long ago along the same lines in front of a religious organization. It's the same kind of thing. The timing on this is particularly worrisome, given that we are smack in the middle of these impeachment proceedings, and he, can be seen to be projecting a message. So in total, it's worrisome, and it is certainly highly irregular, to use a term we've been hearing a lot.
And doesn't this feed the suspicions that what he's doing is not on the level? I mean, isn't he opening himself up to that?
Look, he's opened himself up, as you say, investigating the investigators, declaring total exoneration with respect to the Mueller report. He's put himself out there, and this is just a continuation, it would seem, of the same.
Yeah. Danya Perry, a lot of people know your former office, SDNY. Appreciate you coming on the beat. I hope you'll come back.
Happy to anytime.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
expertise. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.